All right, it's about 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and we're just getting underway for Spring Bear 2020. Pro tip for any of the hunters out there with kids: if you want to squeeze in an extra half a day of hunting, get all your shit ready the night you're going to leave, wait until your kid goes to sleep, and then hit the road. I'm going to get about a 10-hour drive from my place to where I'm going to be hunting. So the goal is smash out 4 to 5 hours of that drive tonight, pass out in the back of the truck for a few hours, wake up in the morning and do the rest of the drive. And this will essentially mean I can be in the woods hunting by noon tomorrow instead of getting to the trailhead for the end of the day, passing out in the truck and not really hunting until Tuesday morning. Now, with all that being said, to be completely honest, I have no idea how this week is going to play out. So my original intent was like a pretty full-on solo backcountry rifle hunt. And yeah, I got word from a good friend that there might be too much snow where I want to go. So the high country might be out of play totally. And if that's the case, there's a bunch of different options. Here's the bottom line. I don't care. I'm so happy to be, out of the city, away from work, away from all the nonsense that's going on right now, and just gonna head into the mountains and try and hunt some bear. I don't really care how it plays out. I'm just happy to be hunting. All right, drove as far as I could. First night, I'm gonna pass out here, just at a rest stop. Maybe 3, 4, 5 hours, see what I feel like, try and get up as early as I can and get back on the road, and hopefully get to hunt camp noon, 1 o'clock. We'll see how times go. Anyway, here's my setup for sleeping. Got this super cool kind of fold out foam mattress I had made up last year, and then I got my quilt, nice little pillow, set up here in the back of the truck. All right, we have arrived. So like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I didn't really know how this was gonna play out or what kind of hunt I was gonna do. So I showed up at my buddy Jeff's place. I'm in his guiding house right now. And basically, yeah, he said, you can do whatever the fuck you want this week, man, because there's only one other guy here hunting and nobody else could come up for the whole season. So there's not a lot of competition and there's pretty good bear country down here. So there's still a shitload of snow up in the high country, which I don't mind hiking around in, but the bottom line is I don't even think there's any fucking bears up there, especially considering, I'll show you shortly here, how green and lush. We're right down here on the river bottom, prime bear country, and there's tons of bears down here. So I think I'm just gonna kind of take her easy and stay at the camp house and hunt the evenings. There's some fields, there's some railroad tracks. So yeah, I'll show you my room, super cool. So I get this all to myself, there's 2 beds. The rest of the house is super cool. Yeah, and this is my buddy Jeff Lander's outfit. It's called Primitive Outfitting. I was actually up here hunting with him 3 years ago. Highly recommend Jeff, highly recommend Primitive Outfitting. He does primarily bear and moose out of this camp here, and then he has another outfit in Alberta where he does kind of later season, end of October-ish, mule deer. So yeah, Primitive Outfitting, super good guy, super great outfit. If you're looking for a guided hunt, I highly recommend it. I am just super lucky that I'm gonna get to hunt the area, but I am gonna be hunting solo all week, so should be a blast. Really looking forward to it. All right, first day of the hunt. I just parked the truck. Got a bit of a hike here. I'm past a gate. I'm basically making my way down to this really big field where there's been a really big black boar and a beautiful cinnamon boar spotted the last couple nights. So basically, I got my gun and I got my bow. I'm gonna make it a bow hunt, but just for safety's sake, I'm gonna bring the rifle as well. And the goal is to hike up to the end here and then basically set up a glassing spot and glass across this field into the tree line on the far side and hopefully wait for somebody to make their way out feeding. All right, just spotted my first bear. I was coming up the road right here, and it looked like just a little brown spot up in the field, and then out of nowhere it stood up. Big black thing, it looked big to me anyway, so I draw my back. Kind of made a half-hearted stalk, but with where he was and with the location of the road, and he was already up and moving. Anyways, I got to within 60 yards, but he was already moving a fair clip, and then he eventually just blew out. So, but we're not even at where I'm supposed to be going to hunt for the night yet, so great sign. Should be a good evening. This is easily the craziest night of bear hunting I've ever had in my life. Been on 4 stalks so far. Got sub 60 meters 4 times. And a staring contest with a black bear at 35 yards. And now I'm staring at a grizzly sow and 2 cubs at the end of this field. I think I've seen like something like 10 bears. And I think it might have been here an hour so far. Like, it's almost a bit spooky. Like, when you're putting a stalk on one bear, I'm like constantly looking over my shoulder to see if there's another bear like sneaking up on me or some shit. Fucking nuts, man. I think I've almost been too aggressive. Like, I'm bouncing around too much. Every time I see something worth making a play on, I go after it. And I think instead what I'm gonna do is just chill out, let it come to me. So I've been sitting here watching a black bear. He's between 90 and 100 yards away. He's been there for 10 minutes. I have a 300 Win Mag rifle. Right there. It's gun season. And I have a tag in my pocket. So this is the first time that I have ever voluntarily passed up an animal. And it's a very interesting experience that I'm going through right now. I don't feel like it's fair to shoot him with the gun. And it's not even that it's fair. Okay, it's fair. I don't feel like it's ethical, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word either. I don't know how to say what I want to say. And I don't know if it's just some fake construct that I've created in my own head, but I feel like it's not hard enough. It's too easy to kill this bear right now, and that's why I don't want to do it. I want to kill him with my bow, even though I don't have to kill him with my bow. I feel like it's the right thing to do for the bear.
If this was a different situation, like I have no problem killing a bear with a gun. If I was on top of a mountain and he was 400 yards away and I had been hiking all day, and this is what I mean. I don't know if it's like a fake construct that I've created for myself, or if there's like a deeper ethical principle going on here. But he's a beautiful black bear, and I'm not going to shoot him with the rifle. I'm going to try and get him with the bow, or I'm going to let him go. Well, this is another blown stock. Fuck. I got within 60 yards again. And the funny thing is, when they blow out, he just runs like 50 yards away and then slows down again. But there's like this little buffer zone that I can't seem to get inside. Fucking mosquitoes are crazy. I knew that was a bad play, but I was sitting here, I was watching him. I'm like, doing something's better than doing nothing, which is not always true, by the way. But in this particular case, in a game-rich environment, it's like you might as well make a play. So I decided to make a play, but because the field is so big and open to my left, even though he was walking towards the left, and I should have cut him off to the left, the only way I could, even attempt to sneak up on him was to cut to the right. So I was able to get all the way across an open field, which is not a bad feat in and of itself. And then I was able to kind of cut into the tree line and sneak up on him. And it was the last little bit. I should have just held up, but I had like 15 yards to close this gap to the next tree. And I had him at 65, and I'd feel comfortable taking a 50-yard shot. So I was like, I'll close this 15 yards and then I'd have a shot. And as soon as I took a couple steps, he just didn't like it and he blew out. All right, super successful first night. Just had that final stalk on that little bear that I decided not to come to full draw on. I think that's a good way to end the night. being first night, it just didn't feel right. He's not ready to go yet, so we'll give him a couple more years. But I got in on that big guy twice at 60 yards, but blew him out both times. And then saw that sow grizzly, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's it for day one. Gonna go home, gonna eat some food, get a good night's rest, and do it all over again tomorrow. All right, just headed out on the evening hunt for day two. It's been pissing rain all day, but it just let up about an hour, maybe half an hour ago. And this can make for some ideal hunting circumstances because the bears have been hunkered down all day, and now they're gonna come out and feed in the field. Now I'm headed back in to the same field I was last night. Now, one thing to note is Jeff did tell me that if I get an opportunity to take that big boar, I might want to just go ahead and use the rifle because of how much rain we've got. This might be my last opportunity to hunt this field, and I really want to get a chance at this bear. He's such a nice bear. I've been thinking about him all day since last night. Okay, I made it into my spot for the night. I didn't see any bears on the way in tonight. I did see some fresh sign. Last night I saw a few bears on the way in. I was also about a half an hour later than this last night. So here's my setup. This is my glassing position. Got the stool, the outdoorsman's tripod, and then I got the 15s. Because of the heavy rain, it may just be a quiet night tonight, but it's still super early, so I'm very optimistic. I found the big boar from last night. He's currently 360 yards away on the other side of the meadow. I had just gotten everything set up. Phone scope was running. I had a nice bench, ready to take my shot, and like instantly it just started fucking pouring rain, and he ran back into the timberline. So I can just see his outline in the bushes now. So I'm just gonna wait him out. Hopefully this rain lets up and he comes back out to feed and we get a good shot. So here's the deal. I made a bad shot. I can see I hit him way far back, like basically grazed his ass. And there's really no excuse for it. I fucked up. That's all there is to it. So I'm over here where I shot him and I can't find any blood. I can see his tracks where he went in the timber, but then you get 6 feet into the timber and it's just chest high green and I can't see anything and I have no idea where he went. I already spent a good 45 minutes walking around back there and I got nothing. I'm gonna keep walking around till dark and see if I can turn anything up. Essentially, this is the worst case scenario for a hunter. I feel like puking right now, but it is what it is. What an unbelievable turn of events. So after spending 2 hours beating around the bush, I thought to myself, maybe I just grazed this guy. Maybe he'll come back. So I pulled out. I went back to my original glassing spot. Maybe 20 minutes of light left. I was just about to get back up. And the motherfucker comes back. So I've been filming this guy for the last half an hour. I've been bouncing around from spot to spot to spot, trying to get in the 250 yard range with like a nice line of sight and a nice shot. I just didn't have anything I felt comfortable with. It's starting to get too dark. I feel like I got a new lease on life because it was a clean miss. Well, as clean of a miss as you can make, I guess, without totally missing. So I'm not going to take any more chances. And the fact that he came back again after I shot him in the ass, it's like, motherfucker, really good odds he'll come back here again tomorrow. So I'm going to pull out for tonight, let him keep munching away on some dandelions, regroup, sleep, eat, make a game plan, potentially come back in here again tomorrow. Okay, so after the issues yesterday with missing the bear, I decided to head to the gravel pit and fling a couple bullets, and gun was out. Gun was out significantly. This is my fault. It was about 4 inches high and 4 inches left at 100 yards. And the interesting thing is, I think somehow my turrets got spun, because when I reset the gun to 0-0 on both the elevation and the windage targets, I'm bang on. So there's no excuse for this. This is shoddy work on my part. There's no excuse. I can't let this happen again. Now, you know, at 360 yards, it is very possible that would have been 12 inches high and 12 inches left. And if that's the case, I probably would have smoked that bear last night. I still don't think it was a perfect shot, but I think the marksmanship was there. It was the gun that was out. But whether or not it's the marksmanship or the gear care, they're both my responsibility, and I fucked up. So that's that. I can't let that happen again, and it won't happen again. Okay, it's about 3:30. Pretty slow so far. I saw the one little guy on the way in, back that way, but gave him a pass, as always. And I haven't seen any other action so far, but it's still early. I don't really expect anything until probably around 6. So I'll just keep sitting and glassing. Alright, bit of a grinder of a night, not a whole lot going on, super quiet. Saw that little guy one more time. And it's got me thinking about the difference between persistence and vigilance. I feel like to be vigilant is to be persistent, but with an edge of focus. I think one of the things that shifted between the years I was a hunter and I didn't have a whole lot of success, and the years that I was a hunter where I did have a lot, like when that shift occurred, I think I discovered the difference between being persistent and being vigilant. Let me give you an example. So if I just sat here right now and didn't go home, I feel like that would qualify as me being persistent. I mean, I'm out here, I'm trying. The difference in being vigilant is that, like, you have to be on your toes, even though it sucks you into this feeling of complacency because there's nothing going on, so you think you can just sit around and do nothing. But it's constantly being alert and glassing and glassing and glassing and looking and listening and glassing and listening and looking. And when you do that all the time, you'll happen to catch like a little ear flick or a little bit of movement that you wouldn't have caught if you were just sitting on a log, sipping coffee or napping or wasting your fucking time. So they're similar, but they're not the same. And I think to be vigilant takes so much more focus and discipline than to be persistent. These are just the thoughts that run through my head while I'm out here, and they're also the thoughts that I use to keep myself motivated and to keep myself disciplined. It's a narrative that I tell myself, like, if you want to be successful, you have to be actively working towards success constantly. It can't be this passive behavior. It has to be very action-filled. Anyways, my 2 cents. Deep thoughts from Jack Handy type of shit. All right, I'm gonna get back to glassing. All right, that's a wrap on day 3. Very slow night. Saw the little guy maybe half a dozen times. He was basically 150 yards away from me for a couple hours, just bouncing in and out of the timber. But I did not see a single other bear other than that guy all night. So the question is now, do I go back in there tomorrow? Part of me feels like the odds of Bubba being in there are even better because he wasn't in there tonight. Also, Jeff's seen another cinnamon bear in there before, and the fact that I've been in there 3 days in a row and haven't seen that bear makes me think that maybe it's about time he shows up. Either way, go over a game plan with Jeff tonight and see what he thinks, but if it was me and I didn't have anybody else here, I would just go back in because I feel like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So we'll see how it goes. Another day in the books. Okay, morning of day 4, and we're going to mix it up a little bit today. I sat back there from 1 to 9:30 last night, and from 1 to 5:30 was dead as fucking dead. And then that little guy came out, and he was, moseying around for a solid 3 hours in and out of the timber. But I have seen, I'm pretty sure I saw this bigger guy yesterday around 10:30 from the main road. So it's 9:30 now. I'm going to hike in. Game plan is to sit from 10 to 12, come back out, go back to the house, have some food and a nap, and then come back for an evening sit, as opposed to doing the 1 to 9:30, breaking it up into 2 sections, because I think there's a chance he's going to come out and feed in the morning. Now, perfectly clear sky last night with a huge full moon, so I'm not sure what that means. From what I understand, bears don't feed at night. But also in my experience, when there's full moons, animals tend to be more active at night, which means there's less activity during the day. But I don't know, that's really conjecture. I don't have anything to back that up for bears. So that's the game plan. Gonna pack up, head in, see how she goes. Just finishing up the morning sit. We had the one little guy, as usual, and then we had that grizzly go right through the middle of the field. One of the things I'm really noting about the bear behavior is that the black bears always stick to the edges. They never actually walk out into the middle of the field. The grizzlies do not give a shit. They just walk right through the middle. They just own the joint, and they know it. So I'm trying to strategize for the evening hunt. I mean, I was in this field when there was a sow grizzly at that end and 2 black bears at this end. So what I'm trying to get at is, should I account for that grizzly being here, decreasing the likelihood of my big black bear coming back this evening? The honest answer is, I don't know. But if I was to speculate, I don't think I should worry about it. The grizzly also seemed to be on the move. I feel like they were moving through the country and not going to stick around. Again, pure speculation. But I think my gut's saying come back here again and sit tonight. So we'll see how she goes. So, interesting development. hiked all the way into my spot tonight, and about 50 yards from where I normally glass, that BOAR grizzly was back again from this afternoon, and it didn't look like he was going anywhere. So I waited about 20 minutes, and then he actually started kind of sauntering towards me, and more importantly, sauntering towards my way out of this particular piece of country. So I originally thought, well, I'll just wait here. He'll walk past me, and then I'll go to my glassing spot. And then it occurred to me that there would be essentially a grizzly walking towards the road that I need to walk on to get out at the end of the night. And that was probably a terrible idea. So I am going to do the safe, responsible thing and just pull out and go find another spot to hunt for the night. And the fact that that grizzly's been there twice, you know, in the past few hours, that field is probably nuked, because the way he's owning that place, those black bears aren't going to want to come out. So, time for plan B.
Okay, we made the move, and I'm at my second spot. I'm actually in a tree stand. I blew out a bear on the way in who was on the road, but I haven't seen any action yet. It's maybe 7 o'clock, so I've got a good 2.5 hours. So we're just gonna sit here, see what happens. I'll show you where I'm at. I just had a nice boar. Come out to my left at about 80 yards. And he's feeding the wrong way. And I want to get down and put a stalk on him, but the wind is blowing right at him from where I'm at right now. So I'm hoping he just messes around over in that section for a while, and maybe he'll start working his way back here. I think I'm going to try and be patient, though it's still early in the night. Something else might walk by.
All right, well, that is it for the evening of day 4. I am fucking freezing cold. I sat in that stand all night. I saw that one boar come through. I only saw him for 5 or 10 seconds, and I did get down off the stand and go try and put a little stalk on him. But when I walked over to that edge, there was just nothing but brambles and bush, and he was long gone. So no love. Okay, so we got 2 days left. Going to regroup tonight, make a fresh game plan, and hit her hard tomorrow.
I got a clean pass through. It sounded great. I am 90% certain he's piled up 60 yards away, because I heard him do his sprint. Then it didn't go far. He went over a little rise and stopped. And then maybe 5 seconds later, I heard some thrashing, which to me would signify like a death shake, like he's done, you know, because that, in my experience, that's what that normally means. They either keep running a long time, or they'll run and stop, and when they run again, they run another big section. And there was none of that, and I was very close to where he went down. So, and he's in thick brush. I would have heard him if he kept going. So I'm gonna give it half an hour just in case, because I'm in no rush. He's not going anywhere, and then I'm gonna go walk over there and see how we did. What a great day.
Okay, so I had a good look around the canyon, and I wasn't able to turn up the bear at first glance. And it's so steep, I can't have my gun in my hand and crawl around at the same time. I also found another gut pile. So like 2 things were concerning me if I didn't have my gun in my hand. 1, the bear I shot might not be dead. And 2, another bear might have smelled that other gut pile, or might have smelled the bear that I shot and be on his way over there. So I decided, seeing as I have the ability, I would back out and get a buddy. So Jeff's following me back out to the kill site, and we're gonna have a look for the bear. So fingers crossed. All right, my friends, it's done. We found him. I had a feeling Jeff was just gonna know exactly how to find the guy, and he was exactly where I thought he was. He'd run right down the edge of the cliff and expired at the right in the creek. Like, that was as quick and clean a death as you could possibly ask for. So, got him in the back of the truck. We're gonna head to the house, get him up, process him, and have a good feast tonight. So I'm packed up and I'm on my way home. And as always, I find this drive an incredibly introspective time. I think part of it is there's so much anticipation to the hunt. I look forward to these things so much. You do so much work to get ready, and then there's all this build up, and then especially when the hunt is successful, there's this kind of come down period afterwards, which I used to not like, but the more I do this, the more I come to like it, because I kind of appreciate it as part of the process. Anyways, what's really occurring to me on the drive home, there's a couple of thoughts that are occurring to me. Here's the first one. The more I go bear hunting, the more I love bears. And I think this is true across all of the animals I hunt, but with bears specifically, because when you have good conditions, you get to watch them so intently and pretty closely, so you really feel like you're in their backyard. I mean, with deer, you know, you're not sitting there glassing deer from 150 yards away from extended periods of time. It just doesn't happen. They're not into that. They're not comfortable with that. But with bears, you know, depending on the time of year and depending on wind direction, you can easily sit. You know, there was times I sat within 200 yards of a bear for more than an hour and a half or 2 hours straight on this trip. I spent hours and hours glassing bears this week, and having that opportunity and being able to, I don't know, you feel like you get to know them, and they each have their own individual personalities, and there's so much, like deer and elk and you know, animals like that all seem to kind of act the same way, and they seem to have the same patterns of behavior, and I can understand why they're doing what they're doing. Bears are a different breed. They don't behave, you know, like most antlered animals do. They're much more like meandering and kind of oddly curious and moody. There's a very, you know, deep personality to bears. And it was weird. The first time I went hunting bears and I got my bear, I was excited and I was happy, but it didn't feel like killing something with antlers. I'm just going to be honest about it. It didn't have that sense of victory, which I know might sound weird to people who don't hunt, but it's hard to describe. But when I shot my first bear, I didn't have that. Now that I've been hunting bear for more years and I've had more opportunity to get out after them, this was much different. Like this experience was very full and very rich. Like I very much enjoyed and felt like the fullness of the experience, if that makes any sense. I might just be rambling here. It's hard to put these thoughts and emotions in words, and I think that's a good segue into the second thought or process of thoughts that I'm having on this drive home. I mean, this will date this film, but it's a pretty crazy time in the world right now. Between first COVID and now these riots, like, it is a crazy time to be alive. And I don't want to advocate burying your head in the sand. In the same breath, I think distance is absolutely necessary for perspective. And I'm really grateful that I had a chance to go away for a week, no Wi-Fi, no cell, and distance myself from everything that's going on, because I think you get a chance when you're not bombarded by media messages to like think for yourself and really contemplate
What's important to me? What matters to me? What do I have control over, and what can I impact in my life? And how do I want to spend my energy and spend my days? And how do I want to affect change? And I don't know if you can actually have those thoughts when you are deeply embedded in society. I'm not sure how much of those thoughts are your thoughts and how much of those thoughts are put there because of, like I said before, the constant bombardment of media. It's one of my greatest frustrations in life, and one of the things I think about the most when I think about my young daughter and how she's growing up compared to how differently I was growing up. The more time that I spend in this neck of the woods, when I was up here this time, I really want to get a little place up here. Just a couple of acres, dirt cheap, some scrub land, because I want a place where my daughter can come at least a couple weeks or a month of the year and have zero influence from anyone else. No phones, no Wi-Fi, no TV, no nothing. 100% completely unplugged. Just to be with herself and her own thoughts and her family and the people who care about her. Yeah, I don't know, man. I could not have asked for anything more. I gotta thank my buddy Jeff, who owns Primitive Outfitting, for inviting me up. I mean, if you guys, I hunted by myself this week, but if you guys are ever looking for a guided hunt in BC for black bear or moose, or you want to go after mule deer in Alberta, the man is an absolute fucking legend. I kind of did this hunting thing on my own. I didn't really have any mentors or anybody to teach me how to do it. And getting to spend time with a guy like Jeff is just invaluable. Like, that guy has more hunting knowledge in his pinky finger than I'll probably have before I die. So I can't express my gratitude enough for him and for the impact that he had, and for, how grateful I am for the time that I got to spend with him this week. It was just a blast. So, with all that being said, this concludes yet another adventure. I think up next on the books, we got elk in September. Maybe we'll get out and do some scouting or hang some cams this summer. We'll see. Until then, we'll train, practice, and prepare for the next one. Thanks for watching.